Okay, I thought I'd do this. I'm cleaning up a fly trap here, and let's see if I can do this with a couple of hands. But anyway, cleaning up a fly trap, and it is January, and so they really should be dormant. So in the growing season, this one right here, which I'm going to describe as just a grocery store Venus flytrap, is typically red. But cleaning up this one, and this one's actually bloomed for me twice. So this is the raceme, and I'm going to say that's generally a spike, but it also looks like it wants to make some seed. But anyway, cute flowers. There's actually last year's spike right there. But you'll see here's the dead leaves. So typically in winter it'll go very dormant. So it likes temperatures below 50, but necessarily above freezing. And you can see that it's actually coming out. So that's why it needed some cleaning. But this is a pretty big root ball, so to speak. This is peat. Well, I should say sphagnum, but you see there's these are the petioles of the leaves, let's say. They're going into a lot of vocabulary. And the bulb is in there. So that's pretty big. But I do some fertilizing, and it's like that quite a bit. And it's growing quite well. But anyway, these are, needless to say, carnivorous plants. I should say Dionaea. Muscipula is the scientific name. So Dionaea is referring to Aphrodite, and muscipula means a couple of things, but it means mousetraps. Mousetrap in Italian, or Latin, if you will. Be a muscipalico in Italian, I believe. But anywho's, so not fly traps, but mouse traps, according to Linnaeus. But anyway, dormant in the winter. It's not a tropical plant. It does enjoy some good fertilizing, and then in summer you just treat it as a regular plant. It does like high humidity. Grows in the coastal swamps of the Carolinas. There might be a disjunct population in Florida, but it might have been planted too in Florida. But anyway, usually accompanied by many other plants like sundews and some various bog orchids, and so on. So it's not necessarily difficult. Just need to remember that it's not a tropical. They do perfectly well in aquariums. This is actually growing with my orchids, and it decides to come back. So I actually killed a fair amount in Florida. But maybe the broader point here is that there's quite a few. If you think of this as being the typical leaf type, there's a lot of genetic diversity. There's ones with giant hairs on them. There's red ones all the way through burgundy. Akiru, red dragon, is actually a bit slow growing. But there's giant ones that are as big as your thumb. Well, traps as big as your thumb. All sorts of tooth type. Interesting flowers. They do actually breed pretty well with one another, so that's really not an issue. And then you just plant the seeds, scatter the seeds on moss, sphagnum. So a very easy plant. I should do something about how to grow them. But anyway, this one's actually in peat, and this is sphagnum, and an obnoxious little moss growing on the surface. I'm not appreciating of. But anyway, that's a Venus flytrap, so not terribly difficult to grow, and that's the pot that I've been growing in. So it's not terribly difficult. Doesn't need a lot of space. But you do have to recognize that it is a living organism and a plant. And so fertilizing and paying attention to it now and again is a useful thing. So, and they don't necessarily have to eat bugs if you do some fertilizing and so forth. So, but anyway, despite what it looks like, it's actually quite healthy. So there you go.